Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Good morning, nation. How to embrace failure as a path to rapid, oh no, not slow, but rapid growth. Coming to you on a Monday, July 22nd. And if you are a 20-some-odd friend of mine, and Marty's and our new friend John Anderson, you're going to want to stick around to the second hour of the show. We're coming up. The foods you want to eat now so you can age later better. Yeah. Eat these foods today we're going to talk about so you guys can age better. And I know this because I'm old. And I got a guy who, hey, I'm happy today, man. Marty, I'm happy, man. I'm actually not the oldest guy on the show anymore. We'll get we'll get to that in a few moments here. But good morning, Enzo. Got something for you here, Enzo. I got something for you. There we go. Yes. Good morning, Enzo. Good to have you here from the future. We got some surprises for you here, nation. The show has grown today. Marty, it's growing. We have a new character sitting on the cast. Marty's thinking, okay, so what am I going to say here now? But nation, hey, we got to get John his own soundboard.
We got to get John a soundboard. We'll work on it.
So we can have soundboard wars first thing in the morning here on Mornings in the Lab. So I am pleased to tell Business Athlete Nation, LinkedIn Nation, YouTube Nation, Thread, the whole world, that's our guest on Friday, Marty. It's now Monday, 70 somewhat hours later, and he's still here. He changed his shirt, though.
I just wouldn't leave. Yeah.
What are we going to say to that? So John Anderson, much fun on Friday, and he had so much fun hanging out with me a few months ago in the lab. He's like, hey, Bilous, I want to come hang out with you guys a little more. I'm like, all right. So we've added the trio. The band is growing, Marty. The boy band here in Business Athlete Nation, Mornings Lab Nation is growing. So John Anderson's going to hang out with us in the lab here, and you're going to get to know John, and he's going to be part of the show for the next coming while and have some fun with it along the way. So today we're here to talk about embracing failure. We're here to talk about the foods you want to be eating if you're young, and we're going to talk about aging. But and we got Creator Spotlight coming up. We got the poll discussion, and of course, gentlemen, we're going to kick the show off like we always do to talk about kind of what's going on over the weekend.
Hey, this is a hell of a trio, man.
Has there been any news over the weekend that's maybe dropped in the world? I don't know.
Oh man.
Before we get to news, I got to say this is great. I've been accused or called like said I was a part of many things, but never a boy band. This is a first.
I think it's a first for me too.
No, we are the oldest boy band on the planet. Yes, that are coming together. So I'm thinking we can be hanging out with let's think about it, Johnny. So you and I will go back to the Four Tops, Johnny, the Four Tops, or and then we'd come together with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Marty.
98 degrees.
98 degrees with Nick Lachey. Marty's just nodding. Marty's
no, I know NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. The rest of them,
nope. No, exactly.
I don't know those.
Oh man, there's always a need for boy bands, nation. So you got the newest boy band waking up with you every single morning, 8:00 Eastern time. Again, across all the platforms. And Marty, I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. Jimmy, before 5 minutes in, nation, like the show, subscribe to the show, and leave us comments.
There you go.
Yeah,
and share it. Actually,
and share it. Yeah, I got to think about that in triplets or fours here. So Johnny, I got to introduce you to our friend, the future. So John Anderson, this is the future.
Okay.
He joins us from the future, John. So I know that, and here's a good thing about you, pal. Because you're in San Diego, because you're in California, he's actually further ahead than even you. He's in New Zealand. So if you're looking to make any stock choices today or lottery picks today or anything that you want to predict what's going to happen later today, Enzo will set you up, man. He knows the numbers to pick and everything because it's already happened.
Because he's like a solid, 16 hours ahead? Is that right? Something along those lines?
I think at least 16 hours. Marty,
like 16
hours maybe?
Maybe 15, yeah.
yeah. He's so if I do fall asleep, I do apologize. First class 7:45 tomorrow a.m. and this finishes at 2 a.m. Dude, you are a beast, man.
Man, go to sleep, man. Go to sleep, bro.
Enzo's coming at you, Johnny. Did you catch the rugby in San Diego?
I did not. You know, though I used to play rugby in college, so that's something that I actually understand and love the game.
Oh yeah.
I just, as I get older, I don't like to watch. I like to participate. You know,
Yes.
So it's like I feel like my time serves me better with me doing some activity rather than watching somebody else do an activity that I enjoy.
Yes. Well, I know because you're now here.
There we go.
You were part.
That's a prime example of what I'm speaking of right there.
I talked with Johnny on Friday after the show, Marty, and he's talking. He's like, yeah, I don't mind observing, but I really like participating. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yeah, you want to drop in for a show every now and then? He's like, well, maybe once a week. Well, Marty, by the end of the hour, he's like, yeah, I think I'll come in full time. I'm like, all right, so we'll see you Monday.
Let's do it.
Hey, John, I was telling Marty this story a while back. Are you a Metallica fan by any chance, John?
Who is not a Metallica fan?
Yeah,
Goodness
right.
gracious.
Yeah, thank you. Duh. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was telling John. Here's a good one for that one. I was telling Marty a while back that when Metallica, remember the Saint Anger movie, the Saint Anger tour? Remember the movie when they welcomed Robert Trujillo to the band? And that scene behind the scenes there, I don't know if you remember it all, but there was a scene where all three band members, after they kicked Cliff Burton, after they kicked Jason Newsted out, they welcomed Trujillo to the band. And it was this moment behind the scenes in the boardroom where they're like, okay, we'd like to welcome you into the boy band Metallica, and here's your share of the business. Here's your check for $1 million. And, we're so used to seeing them as musicians, John? But to see the business side of it, fascinating to me. Hey?
100%.
Because you just don't see that often, actually. So,
it makes sense because how many decades have they survived?
Yeah,
you can't just be a musician and not understand the business element because it's really, granted it's a band, but it's also a business.
A business, exactly. Yeah, Metallica Inc. Right. So,
yeah, 100%.
We have Donna Alexandra joining us from the future as well. I cannot give you the future sound effect, but Marty, I did pull something out of the drawer today, and I'll use it once for Donna Alexandra. We don't know Donna, but I've introduced a new sound effect, Marty, for the future.
Let's hear it.
Oh.
Is that the goat?
Man. I got the goat. Yeah. So anytime we can welcome.
Oh no, you have to use the goat on the goat.
I should have actually introduced John.
You can't just give anybody the goat sound. Did Donna earn the goat sound?
Well, maybe she earned this one though. I know you love this one, Marty.
Oh my God.
John, he's trekking up the mountain.
Stop it, Keith.
I was gonna say I've not quite connected the dots of what that sound was.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was some sort of an inside joke. So I was just kind of waiting.
That's it. All right, coming in 10 minutes up. After the hour here, we like to kick off the show with views from the lab, commentary and comments from Bilous, Marty, and now our new friend Johnny Anderson. And gentlemen, Donna Alexander's laughing with, I'll take the GOAT status. Yes, Donna. Hey, Marty, that's how we'll get Donna to come back. We'll just call everybody GOATs. And then as long as we call everybody GOATs, we'll keep building our audience. Right? So that's how it's going to work there. But
that's participation trophy stuff.
That's it. Oh,
yeah. We don't want to build an audience on false pretense.
Yeah. Everybody gets the GOAT.
Marty,
everybody's a goat.
I suspect John's going to drink the same Kool-Aid as us here. Johnny,
absolutely.
My daughter went to a dance competition a few weeks ago, and sorry, Piper's sleeping right now, so she won't hear me talking. But Marty, Johnny, everybody got golds. It was high gold, low gold, medium gold, orange. Like, what the hell is that teaching people?
That's terrible.
It's. I don't even know where to start on that one. That's a whole show right there.
It is.
It's not something we just kind of, something we just kind of kick around and expect that we're going to, that thing goes so deep.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You get in that rabbit hole and you think you're at the bottom, and no, it just keeps getting bigger,
We've got Enzo on the train here because, yes, Enzo, you're right. We are bringing back participation trophy store, and I'm going to segue this into the weekend news here in a moment. But Enzo, perhaps you can change the whole trend in the future. maybe you can have enough influence there as a young lad there in New Zealand to change the trend from not everybody getting gold to everybody not getting just necessarily participation. And so hey, Marty, I love that. Hey, Enzo's part of the show. We spent 90 minutes on this already. This is a whole series.
We did talk about this for a while.
Yeah,
and rightfully so, because that was terrible.
This is true. Hey, the only morning show to get you going and start your day, the accountability show, Mornings in Lab. Keith, C. Marty Fit, John Anderson joining you guys. Gents, I know we are not a political show. However, I love when you say however and but, because just cancels everything else before it.
Yeah, you said both of them. So
however, but really,
however, but
so I'm seeing the number of people hanging on. What's he going to say next? All right. So I have some commentary I would like to add to what happened yesterday. We had a candidate leave the race yesterday. Now I'm Canadian, gentlemen, so I can offer commentary and opinions. And this is really fucking mad. Oops, sorry. Yep. Told Johnny can't swear, and I'm dropping one in before 15 minutes in. So I know that my opinion, my opinion does not matter. But I do want to lean on to this idea of leadership, and I do want to lean into a courageous decision that a human had to make this weekend. And I'll leave that there. So I am a bipartisan human. I wear red underwear, blue shirt, red underwear. I like to, make my views known by the issues, not necessarily by a partisan situation. I can't imagine how difficult it was for this human being to reconcile, look in his own mirror, and recognize that it was over. I don't care what political party you hang on. As a human being, you lived your whole life doing one thing, and you have to wake up one morning and recognizing that everything's against you, and that it's time to. But let's face it, he more than likely did not make the decision himself, right? He really kind of had no choice. And I know that, gentlemen, Marty, Johnny, the biggest decision in my life that was made over the last number of years is when I got the call from my previous employer, which is, hey, Keith, you're going in that direction, we're going in that direction. Truthfully, guys, I'll be very honest and vulnerable with you both. I was unable to make that decision. Somebody had to make it for me because I didn't have the courage to make it. I didn't have the cojones to make it. And I just, again, without falling onto political views here whatsoever, because I really don't care, frankly. I'm a Canadian boy. What fascinates me is the behind the scenes of how you lead up to that decision, how it all works, the machine, the mechanics of it all, right? And now we let it fall into place over the next couple of months. But Johnny, Marty, I don't know if you guys have been yourselves in a position where you're struggling to make a decision, you can't make a decision, and sometimes somebody else has to make it for you. But the human of Joe Biden that made the decision this weekend, I have respect for, frankly, and I'll put that on the table. I got respect for the fact that somebody's like, you know what, I need to step aside because as a leader myself, that is difficult to do. Marty, your comments first, pal.
No, I absolutely agree. I've had to make difficult decisions, and sometimes, me being a spiritual guy, sometimes God is going to send you in a direction to where it's like, all right, I got to cut this off or I got to move. And I definitely respect it, but the writing has been on the wall. Let's be honest, man.
Yes, 100%.
That honestly shouldn't have been a hard decision to make. Just my opinion. Yeah.
No, and I don't disagree with that. I think for me, more so, I really want to hone in on the fact that the human itself, like let's take the title away, John, coming to you next, but the human itself waking up in the morning, John, we laugh about being old guys going for a pee. Right. And how long that's going to take. And we'll go there a little later, Johnny. But just, in your own private morning, reflecting to Marty's point, it's over.
I mean, I've been in that situation in two different folds. So, perfect. So like when I was wrestling in Japan, it's like that decision is made for me. You're not getting renewed,
Yes.
Go home. So at that point, you're kind of, excuse me, it's stripped from you. You just got to go and do what you do. And I just went home and recreated myself and became a bodybuilder.
Right.
Because turned pro, my bodybuilding kept going. But then here comes the other side of that decision. All of a sudden I became a pro bodybuilder late. So now all of a sudden I'm in my late 40s and 50 competing against guys that are 25, 30. And all of a sudden that decision came to me like, okay, I knew I came into this late. So when I can't be competitive, it's time for me to go. And so I'm sure I relate this decision of mine probably closer to, Biden's in the fact that, hey, you know what? It's time to go.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and people that have been successful in whatever they've done, they understand that it's like seasons, it's chapters.
Yes.
And so that chapter for him is over, and he'll probably go recreate himself into doing something else. Now, granted, he's fairly old, so maybe he's happy to recreate himself into the guy that's not doing much. Who knows? But successful people understand that one season ends, another season starts, and you got to recreate yourself into what you need to do for the next season. You know, like a farmer, there's certain seasons he harvests and then he plants. And, you know, if the farmer was bummed out that the harvest season was over and didn't start his planting season, he wouldn't be a farmer very long.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I like that you related it to competition, John. Because at the end of the day, regardless if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, Marty played D1 athletics. You competed on stage in a ring. Two gentlemen, right? A 78-year-old, a 70,000-year-old. They're a bunch of old folks. At the end of the day, you're still competing.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And it's like, if I feel like I can't win, I guess I got to get off the stage.
Yeah.
Right? So really what it comes down to.
Or at least be competitive, meaning can I still do my job in a way that's respectable? That was my position. Once I can't do my job with a level of respect, you know, obviously first for myself, if I'm like, Jesus, what are you doing? You're just getting your ass wiped out here. It's time to move on to the next chapter. But then also you got to think about the people you're serving.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that obviously has and again, I will continue to be vulnerable with you guys because I don't talk much about this, and I know Marty always gives me crap for not talking more about this, but I would say that, you know, as I was working my way through my previous employer, my previous career there, that company needed a new voice. Like, as you said, John, the constituents, right? The other folks, they needed a different voice. I was struggling to come to terms with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I needed somebody else to help make that decision for me again. And I think as leaders sometimes, and John, you said yourself, you didn't have the choice to make the decision in wrestling. So like, no, you're done, man. Like somebody else made the decision for you.
Yeah. And I was very lucky. I was blessed for that because at that point I had been told it was over. So I kind of had, granted, I was forced through the decision, but I also recognized, okay, I could kind of, once I got through the discomfort of it, I could step back and see what was going on. Yes. And it was easier. It was easier for me to do it myself at the right time the next time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Addressing some of the comments in the feed, Joanna, yes, this is live. We're the only live show that gets you out of bed in the morning. Our show, we wake up to make sure you don't hit snooze. Yeah, we wake up so you don't have to hit snooze. So you can hang out with myself, Marty, Johnny, and get you guys going. So we're the accountability show. We talk business, we talk fitness, we talk lifestyle, AI, all the stuff to help you move throughout the day. And yes, Donna Alexandra, you posed this question. I love this one here too. Check this one, Marty. There's a lot of anger and vitriol in the world at the moment, and not a lot of people willing to step up and try to make a difference in their own life and community. It's true. Right. And then if we do, I think we do it from a microcultural standpoint. And of course, we're popping in and saying, hey, listen, nation, if you're watching this right now, pop up on Threads, X, LinkedIn, all over the planet. Come join the conversation. This is live. We create it live for you guys to join this big old chatter. And Ruby, good morning, Rubies. Thanks for joining.
What's up, Rubies?
In the Ruby as well. Nice to see you in the feed here. What else we got here as well? We got some comments coming us also on the horizontal feed. Lauren's dropping in with some great advice. So Johnny, you'll get to know Lauren. Lauren's my lovely partner, my lovely wife. Who?
What's up, Lauren?
Lauren, what's going on? How are you?
Who often when we're doing the show, Johnny, is on the other side of this wall training. So every now and then,
she's actually training. I saw it for myself. I saw it in real life, and I scared her a couple times because I had to go to the bathroom after the show, and I scared her. So.
I saw it in real life, he says.
and Lauren heard me drop an F-bomb yesterday. She never heard me drop an F-bomb before.
Yeah, because Marty's such a polite young man.
She thinks I'm such a polite person, so that's good.
And you're right, Enzo. You know, at the end of the day, 50 years in politics, bugger that, in my opinion, couldn't last a thing. And yeah, there's Lauren giving you a flex here. So hey, Marty, I got it. I figured I would maybe all right. Good morning, Tech Dad. Tech Dad, thanks for joining, pal, because now's a good time in the show since I got Tech Dad in the show. I think I can address an issue that I think is important, Marty, that I address.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, all right. So yesterday I got a text from somebody. He says to me, Keith, I'm like, yeah. He's like, I drink a lot of water when I get out of bed in the morning. I go, okay.
So I think I might know this person.
And it's like, yeah. So I was on this morning show last Friday. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, man, by the end of the show, I almost pissed my pants. I'm like, oh.
He almost pissed his pants on the way to the toilet.
Oh, no. So nation,
little dribble, realistic little dribble. If the story must be told in pure honesty, there was a little dribble.
I invite Business Athlete Nation. I invite everybody tuning in right now. There's a little, that's Marty. Like, so Johnny, all of our 20, 30-year-old men, 35, 45-year-old men, welcome to the future. Keith and John's life. And Marty, you now have two of us talking about peeing in the middle of the night, taking forever, having to get up. So if John has to get up in the middle of the show, Marty, he's gone for a pee. So if he just gets up and leaves,
I'll say this. That's the first thing I do after every show. I know y'all a little older than me, but I'm always drinking water or some sparkling water on the show. So that's the first thing I do.
Of water, man.
I drink a lot of. Yeah, you see that, right?
Well,
so
here's the difference. You see what he held up, and you see what I'm holding up. There's the difference.
Oh, is this thing?
See that? I got to move this thing just to get it in the screen.
So is this actually a big water bottle contest at this point in the show? And you guys could insert big water bottle or something else.
I can say this. I was slacking this weekend, but Keith can vouch for me. I got my gallon on the show a lot most days.
He has his gallon on the show. Ruby,
today we got this.
Ruby's,
nope.
Yes. Ruby's, we are live every single morning here, Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And if you're lucky, Nation, and I get myself organized and sorted out, we're going to have like morning weekend highlights so that you can wake up with John Anderson, Christopher Martin, and myself, the sultry tones of Keith Bilous, Saturday and Sunday. That's the plan. And hey, Nation, I'm going to tell y'all something because John and I were talking about this too, and Marty. And so I love the fact you got a couple grandpas in the show now, actually, because we can talk about stuff like from the 1800s, and you're all like, "What? What's Anderson and Bilous talking about?" So I would invite y'all to tune into some old Howard Stern stuff because that's maybe where we're heading with this thing. This show is turning into the circus. Right. So you want to turn into accountability content and good conversations. You join us here 8 o'clock Eastern time every single day. And yes, Rubies, we are live every single day. And Tech Dad, thanks for jumping in and bringing some humor today. So gents, we are, Marty, Jimmy, we're running a little bit behind, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's get into the polls. No, Marty, I'm not going to crack the joke today. Hey, Johnny, have you heard my?
No. I'm still kind of getting the feel for all this inside stuff. So I can kind of I can almost see. I watch Marty's face more than yours because he's giving me the true reaction. You're just kind of flipping him out the stuff, seeing what he'll say when you say what you're saying. So this is good.
Okay, so I will not discuss the poll joke this morning on the show.
Please.
It's
so bad.
Right now, Marty, Lauren's over there going, yes, he's not talking the poll joke today. But then I got Seth Kuhn. So. Marty, I got Seth Kuhn sitting in his truck somewhere in North America. Did you know? So Seth Kuhn was one of the fans of the show. I won't put it there. It was one of the community, one of the people who listen to the show. He liked my poll joke. So I used to have one fan likes my poll joke. So anyways, the polls. Yeah. The polls. So John Anderson, every single day we do polls across Threads, LinkedIn, X, all over the place, trying to get engagement and trying to engage Nation with what's happening on the show here. So I'm going to quickly go through the poll results from last week, and then Jimmy, we're going to go to the accountability check-in, and then we'll go to the big conversation. And yes, I'll get better with the structure of the show. Monday. Have you ever had to end an accountability partnership was the question we asked to Nation. And the responses came in at basically, gents, 25% across the board. So it was yes, it felt forced. Yes, goals didn't align, no progress, and no, still going strong. But John, Marty and I talked about this last week. What's it been like when you have had to end an accountability partnership with either a mentor you have hired or somebody you've had to say, you know what, Keith, this isn't working out for us anymore, with you being the coach? John.
Well, when I hire a mentor, I am really, really careful to look at the distance that they've been doing what they're doing, like how long, because You know, I've been accountable to myself, you know, to my discipline for a long time. So I need someone that has been doing it. If someone's been accountable and doing what they're doing for a couple of years, that's just a down payment on what I've been doing. So I need someone that's made what I've been doing, you know, looking like he can outdo me. So that's the first thing. On a mentor, I'm really, really careful. Now, when I mentor people, that's a different story, because you're taking people under your wing that you're trying to help, and you're taking, so you understand that the alignment is not going to be perfect up front, or there's enough to get started. And so I guess when it comes down to it, if I'm going to break free from, like, if I'm mentoring someone, I'm helping someone with accountability, then they have to be aligned with what we're doing, and they have to be putting in the effort. I don't judge on mistakes. I judge on preparation. I judge on effort. Yeah. And if those things are put in play, then we're gonna be just fine. But as soon as one of those falls out, the foundation for the relationship is gone, and it doesn't exist anymore.
I like that statement. Hey, Marty, I don't judge on preparation, because as long as they're putting the preparation in, hey, John, you know they're at least trying, right, John? You know they're trying.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You need to see, as long as they're put in the effort, they're preparing for what they're supposed to be doing. Mistakes, I mean, that's basically, that falls right in line with what we're going to talk about in our show. Mistakes are many failures. They're tests. They're learning experiences. If we don't have those, we don't get better. And so the preparation and the effort tells us that we're either going to get success or failure, and I'm good with either. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're talking some of the polls last week, and Jimmy, I'm going to fast forward through all of them. We're going to talk about today's poll coming up. Is for today's discussion, we're going to tune into in a few moments here. We're going to talk about the poll, accountability check-in, and to get into the big chat today around failure, embracing failure as a path to rapid growth. You know, Nation, we always think we should avoid failure, when the reality is, what I'm encouraging you, John is encouraging you, and Marty's encouraging you to run towards it. I have failed plenty of times. I know John has. I know Marty has. And I would suggest to you that learning how to embrace that is only going to learn how to, move those feet forward in life. So we're going to talk about failure coming up in a few moments. But today's poll, gents, we have up on LinkedIn, X, Threads, all over the planet, YouTube, which is, what helps you bounce back from failure the most? And the 4 options we have out there is support from others, personal reflection, learning new skills, or setting new goals. So, Marty, if you had to choose one of these, what helps you bounce back, Christopher Martin?
Can you name the 4 one more time?
Yeah, just read that again, because if I'm needing to hear them again, I'm sure the listeners are too.
I went through them fast. I get it. So what helps you bounce back from failure the most? Support from others, personal reflection, learning new skills, or setting new goals? Marty, you first.
I got to say personal reflection, man. And I don't know if you two feel the same way, but my personal reflection is more like, if I have a failure, I think about what I've accomplished and just remind myself I'm that guy. I'm the man.
Yes.
Right. That helps me through failure. Like, okay, I failed this, but I did X, Y, Z. I bounced back from this before. I took this loss and I was able to overcome that obstacle so I can get through this. So I just got to basically remind myself of what I'm capable of and what I've done. That typically helps me.
I like that you've used ownership of I'm still the man. I like that, because too often we beat ourselves up and don't recognize that. Hey, Johnny, and for the fact that you to recognize that here's the feedback in the moment. I'm okay. I'm still the man. Just because I didn't achieve something today doesn't mean I'm any worse than I was 2 weeks ago. Right. And sometimes we beat ourselves up. So Tech Dad coming in with, yes, we are live Monday through Friday. Thanks, Tech Dad. But Tech Dad also jumps in, Will Ray and Johnny. Will Ray, awesome dude, man. He joins us sort of down. He's searching for the fall down there in the U.S. But yes, Will, personal reflection. I regularly do personal inventories, and so do I. But John, what do you lean into with the poll? So, you've had your failures through life. Is it support from others? Is it reflection? Is it learning new skills? Or is it pausing and saying, damn it, I'm setting a new goal?
Well, it's going to go to reflection for sure. There's going to be obviously a little reflection of myself, personal, but more importantly, I'm going to reflect on what actually the circumstance, what action failed, because that's my key. That's my different step to move forward again. So, when I view failure and moving down a path, I've already become one with the fact there's going to be tons of them. And every time one hits me, I just need to know what bitty piece of info did it give me so that I can step just to the side of that, that way, whatever, that hand grenade or whatever you want to call it, so it doesn't blow up in my face again. And that reflection is just, okay, I know I stepped here. I got this information. Now I need to step a little bit to the side of that, do it again. It's just a series of tests. So I'm just constantly reflecting on the action or whatever I did that failed so I can learn, know how to do it a little bit different again and keep the process going.
I like that. That's good advice, good learnings. Enzo pops in with without failure, I wouldn't be where I am today. Keith, I wouldn't be as well. Same with John, same with Marty. And you know what? A wise young man, you're bang on, my friend. Building from failure and bouncing over the obstacles to get you now. And I'll tell you what, Enzo, you keep thinking that way, my friend. You keep living your life that way. You're going to keep having the success that I know you strive to have every single day of your life, pal. So you keep rocking and rolling with that one. Tom joins us from Africa. Johnny, Marty, my buddy Tom. So Tom took me on a safari, a year and a half, couple years back, a couple of Julys ago. One of the greatest safari guys ever. My ambition in life is to get us all back there and meet up with Tom. He's joining us from Africa today. Huge fan of Tom to join us. If you're looking for a guide to take you, off the beaten path to hang out with some of the world's greatest animals, you got to hook up with Tom. Come knock on my door. I'll connect you with Tom. He's joining us here. So good morning, Tom. And Donna, check this comment out, gentlemen. Donna says, last year, my business of 6 years absolutely tanked. I wanted to give it all up and applied for a regular job, was close to taking it, but decided to reflect and reinvent. And look at this, guys. Things are going really well. And that is in itself. Yes. So you know what? That in itself is exactly, Marty. That in itself is one of the reasons I get out of bed to do this show. When we can connect with people like Donna Alexandra, that's like, you know what? I had a business that was going crappy. It tanked, but I decided to get up and pull, keep moving up the mountain. Johnny, get into the squat rack and pick up the bar. Marty, get behind the hoop and show that ball. Just to do it again. Like, that's why we do this. So, have Donna show up here and, be vulnerable and share that with us. I love the last sentence, Donna. Congratulations to you that things are going extremely well. That's how it's done. All right. So we're going to, producer Jimmy, we are going to pivot to this point in the show where, John can go. Johnny, it's time for you to go for a pee. I'm going to go do a little conversation here about accountability. All right, so John's off for his situation. I'm going to get into the accountability check-in right now on the show. And it's now when we are going to talk about this. We're going to talk about failure. Failure is a door, nation. It is a second chance, a things to do better, a second chance to reinvent yourself. Failure is not something I want you to fear. As you start your day today, you start your week today on a Monday, don't fear failure, nation. And don't be afraid or ashamed of when it happens. Don't. Here's the truth about failure. Failure teaches lessons. Oh, failure teaches lessons that success can't. Because when you have success, you're like, oh, everything's great. It's rainbows and unicorns and sunny skies. When underneath it all, that's not real life. Failure teaches lessons that success can't, but it also shows what needs fixing. It pushes us to improve. Failure, feedback, it stings. But then you understand as you're going through the moment what went wrong, how to avoid it next time, ways to lead with more insight. This new perspective, nation, as you're going through your moments of failure is invaluable. What happens to you is you become a better leader. You become stronger, wiser, more resilient. So I invite you to remember this. Success, well, we all strive for it. Success, Marty, it's a poor teacher. Failure, on the other hand, failure is a real mentor. So I'm going to invite you as you jump in and you jump into your Monday, jump into the week, or as Enzo and Tom are jumping into the future, grow into the leader you are meant to be. Embrace the moment. Run towards the failure. It's okay. Because failure, the flip side to failure, it's simply feedback. And feedback, I know you guys, nation, you embrace it. There you go. It's your accountability check-in. And it looks like, wow, the guy's pretty quick, Marty.
Did he leave?
Yeah, he's gone and come back already. So good job, John Anderson, on the speed, man. Jeez, I didn't know you can make that happen. And Enzo comes in with to relate how I deal with failure, and they all come into play just at different stages of the failure process. You're absolutely right, my friend. It's and we got one here, Enzo. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my brain doesn't work like others around my age. Yes, we are quite aware of that, my friend. I think Enzo's going on 17, going on 27, going on 37, going on 47. Yeah. Not that we talk about age, not that we talk about age here on the show, but I appreciate those comments, Enzo. But hey, listen, guys, let's pivot our chat to the main topic today. And the main topic, gentlemen, is going to pull it up here on my screen. It is about embracing failure as a path to rapid growth. And Marty, when I was planning the show today and sitting down looking at it, and I knew you and I were going to sit down and chat, and then when I knew John was joining the chat, it struck me that today was going to be a great conversation. And Nation, here's the question I'm going to pose to you before we get into it. Here's the hook. Have you ever felt like a failure? And what if I told you that it's the best thing that could ever happen to you? Today, we're going to start the conversation. We're going to flip failure on its head, reveal how those setbacks you're afraid of can become the greatest comebacks. So today, we're going to discuss understanding the value of failure, why it's not a bad thing, and why we want to use it as a learning tool. And Marty, I'm going to start up with you, pal. So I want you to take a second here as I throw a question to you. Is reflecting on your career through high school, college, D1 athlete. Let's dig into this one, Marty. How have you used failure as a learning tool, Marty?
Oh man, I could talk about this all day.
Yes.
We'll start with basketball. I'm pretty successful through high school. Was fortunate enough to play D1, but I ran into some struggles, and I had times where my coach played me. He didn't want to play me, and so my response to that was, I'm just going to be the hardest worker on the team, right? And so there would be times where I would be the last one in practice, getting up shots. And I knew a time was going to come where, coach had to rely on me. So there were games where we were down 20 points and he threw in the towel. He gave up. But I had the confidence to bring the team back and put the team on my back. So the failure of running into obstacles in basketball, it built my confidence, and I was able to help the team in the long run. As far as transitioning from basketball to being a personal trainer, started off working the front desk at the gym. I had former teammates, NBA guys, they come in there, see me working the front desk, super embarrassing. Felt like a failure, right?
No. I'm going to interrupt you. I remember when I met you. We did our first show, and Nation, Marty comes on the show, Johnny. He says to me, I'm working at the front desk, and I'm feeling like a loser. Is the word you use, Marty? Oh,
like a loser. You used
the word, and it was
bad, man.
And I said to you, Marty, I said, like a loser? You're like, oh yeah, and everybody thought I was a loser, and that really struck me, Marty.
Yeah, like I had coaches, they were like, "What are you doing here?" And had people act like they didn't know me. But let's fast forward a couple years later. Now these people want to train with me, or they're asking me to train their players. You know what I mean? So, and it continues. Pandemic. Gym shut down. I bounced back from that. I get back in my training game. Then I want to go into content. People hate my content because I'm keeping it real, keeping it 100. But guess what? My content gets me to meet people like Keith, John Anderson, and others, and it's provided me other opportunities. So the cycle continues. You're going to fail. It's just part of the game. And when you realize it's part of the game, you'll succeed.
Yeah.
Well, and on that thing with the content, brother, your content is saying something that is, if people are hating on it, if people are talking smack, it means you're on the right track, because you've touched something inside them. You pushed a nerve, you touched their heart. Now, granted, they're usually going to say a bunch of nasty, insulting stuff, but it's just because they're not used to they're not used to the emotion that's coming out that you prompted, that whatever you said prompted something they're not used to dealing with.
Well said, John. So, John, as we're talking failure, and I asked Marty about using failure as a learning tool, and I want to look to you, John, and I want to look to you with the other big word that we talk about linked to failure, which is resilience. Mm-hmm. How has repeated failures in your life How has it built that mental toughness and resilience for you, John, when you keep getting beaten up, knocked down, and you're like, damn it, I got to keep getting back up, thicker skin. Discuss building resilience, John Anderson.
So, basically, when I learned to pursue failure rather than run from it, that's when my life started changing.
Yes.
And for me, I was, basically I was slow coming up. I was in the slow classes. I was underdeveloped, meaning I was, late to puberty. I was, I guess, to a certain extent, a little pathetic as a youngster, and got picked on a lot. And so ultimately, as I started to discover, I was running from failure as a youngster because I was scared to death. Once I started to realize, and it came through weightlifting for me, once I started to realize that I'm trying to lift a weight that I can't. And every time I push towards that, I get a lot better. And then it just started to open up my mind, and the fact that once I started to pursue failure, like I had the intent, and I'm going to make an example of this here in a second so everybody understands. I started for me, the biggest thing for me at that point was developing my self-esteem, my self-confidence. And I learned to pursue failure with the understanding that the rewards were going to be so great. I wasn't afraid of it anymore. I was like, if I have to, if whatever it is, there's a little consequence for a huge return, I'm making that trade all day long. So here's a perfect example. Fast forward, now I'm in a pro strongman career, and I'm basically preparing for these massively heavy squat events. It's 700 pounds, and you have to squat you got 90 seconds to do as many as you can. Whoa. And usually there's a car attached to it. So, we're talking, it's nasty stuff. Well, it's scary. You're in there. There's no getting out, So what I did to teach myself to pursue failure, and I taught myself to do this many years before, but this sums it up. 700 pounds in the gym, what a squat rack looks like. You're inside of a cage, right? It's for the safety. So if you go down, there's catch racks. It catches you. I take the hooks, put them on the outside of the rack. So now I'm going to take that bar. I'm walking out I'm outside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I go down.
Oh, wow.
I go down. I'm going down. And I tell my training partners, and sometimes I'd yell at them because they would step in. I say, you can help me get it out and get set, then get back. I'm not putting it away. And basically I would just start to go, and somewhere between 8 and 11 is where that's kind of where I would usually some bit of technique would break down, or who knows, but I was always shooting for one more. And I was able to get 700 pounds up into that 11, 12, 13 rep range because there was always one more there I didn't think that I could get, but somehow I got it. But when the idea of not putting it away is there, well, if I'm going to crash with this thing, I might as well get one more. It's like, and you pursue failure, you accept it ahead of time. It's like I've heard fighters say, what's the worst? I go in there and get my ass kicked. I can live with that. Let's go fight.
Yes.
And so you pursue failure, and it will change your life.
It absolutely.
That's good, man. That's good.
We're talking embracing failure as a path to rapid growth here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith, C. Marty Fit, John Anderson, the only accountability show to get you guys to start your day. Don't hit the snooze clock. Open up YouTube, open up LinkedIn, open up X, Threads, and come tune into us. Come join the conversation. That's why tell your friends, tell your family, and come hang out with us. We're talking failure today in the lab. Coming up in about a half an hour or so, we're going to dig into, if you're one of my friends in your 20s, you're going to want to listen to what we're talking about. We're going to talk about the foods, and listen, it's cliched, normal stuff, but it's funny how we go through our days, Marty and John. We're like, right, somebody said today I should eat more berries today, and then the light goes on, and you're going through your day, and you're like, I'm going to go have a burger. No, I'm having berries. All right, so we're gonna prompt some thoughts for you guys to consider as you're starting your day today. But right now we're talking embracing failure. And gents, I want to talk about the next one. You guys dug into, Marty, you dug into using failure as a learning tool. Johnny, you dug into learning using building resilience. I want to dig into innovation through failure. And I want to use my own experience with this. As I was wrapping up my old career and building my next life here, we're actually, gentlemen, you both are part of my innovation through failure. Right now, building this lab, building something brand new, to me, it's forcing me to reevaluate current methods, assumptions, and on what I have thought about as failure as I've went through my old part of life. And I just didn't want to come back and just do something, I don't know, just like John suggested, Keith, if you're just doing a podcast, I want nothing to do with it. But because
brother, what you're saying is what attracted me to be here every day.
Yeah, and I know Marty the same thing, right? So
it was like you're on a path to fail a lot, but those failures is what we need. I should say we're on a path, but if it wasn't that way, we wouldn't be going where we want to go. That's
exactly it. So what you're seeing right in front of your eyes, Nation, is you're seeing a culture being born right in front of you in the lab. That's encouraging a culture of experimentation and risk taking. So if you right now are starting a business, if you're looking for your next job, or you're getting up trying to get your week started, again, this show is going to encourage you to experiment. It's going to encourage you to embrace fear. It's going to encourage you to run towards that freaking treadmill, because I got to run later today, Marty. Oh God. And run. Right? It's going to encourage you to get into the squat rack like John Anderson, carrying 700 pounds on his back and going, okay, I'm going to squeeze out one more. And if I fail, at least I tried. Right? So that's what we're talking about here today, which is this idea of embracing failure. But gents, I want to pivot now to practical strategies, Marty, John, about embracing it, reframing it. So Marty, coming to you first again. Talk about reframing failure and using it as a feedback mechanism. You talked about being called a loser. You talked about, feeling really crappy going from D1 athletics to trainer as through your career. But talk about how you had to reframe it, Marty. Like literally have awareness in yourself to reframe it from failure to now feedback, and some of those practical strategies. Christopher Martin.
Yeah, well, John kind of hit on it earlier. Like, when you get in that failure stage, you're probably going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. It's probably a sign that you're doing the right thing. You made the right decision, right? And so that's the first part. And the second part is you got to really look at your situation. Mm-hmm. If you don't like your situation and you want it to change, you're going to have to get uncomfortable in some way. And failure is a big part of that. So a lot of times when I get uncomfortable, I'm like, all right, I need to fail at something. I need to get a new skill. I need to go to a new city, a new area, get some new clients, a new type of clientele. I need to do something, lift heavier weight. I need to get uncomfortable. I need to fail. So those are two practical methods that help me.
That's exceptional. And Enzo joins us here, Marty, to play off that, where Enzo comes up and says, let's start here. He says, I started off high school getting bullied. I bet you we all can relate to this. I know there's periods where I had some bullying going on. I'm sure, John, you said maybe you were. Marty, maybe you were a little bit, but we can maybe even, actually, that's probably even a good topic for a show one day. But, talk about how it screwed him up mentally, and he didn't really give a crap about studies. It showed his exams as a low point in his life. Enzo bounced back 4 to 5 years later. He hasn't failed since. Haven't looked back, and he just focuses on the bright things in life. But John, I want to continue the chat, and I want to talk, playing off where Marty talks about. Where again, we're talking embracing failure. John Anderson, how do you create a safe environment for failure when you're coaching your clients? When you're, as you've gone through your career with your peers, how do you create, and how would you encourage somebody to create a safe environment to embrace failure?
Well, I think the first thing that a person has to understand in the pursuit of failure is that it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I think to myself, and I'm constantly helping others, is that you have to learn to become comfortable when everything around you becomes uncomfortable. And depending on how people hear it, like sometimes I can tell if I'm kind of coaching, say, or helping an alpha.
Yes.
I can say to him, hey, when everybody else is flipping out, you got to learn to get comfortable. And to him, that makes a lot of sense because he's the alpha. He wants to be the guy that's in control. Oh. So you got to kind of play to their personality. You know what I mean? Like if it's a beta personality, someone who's a little more laid back, I'm going to say, look, don't worry about it. You might not be able to tell, but everyone around you is also uncomfortable. And so, helping them see that, okay, I'm uncomfortable, but so what everyone else is, they're used to kind of fitting in a little bit more. But as long as they know they're fitting into that space that I want them to be, it helps them get there. So I guess what it comes down to is how do I make it safe for someone is I looking at them as an individual, looking at their personality. There's going to be something that's going to talk to them that's going to make them feel like stepping into that place of being uncomfortable is actually the safe place. Because if you want to make progress, the most unsafe place you could be is being comfortable. Like Marty said, he feels himself being comfortable. He starts seeking failure. I try to find a way to fail every day. You know, it can be little, it can be big, but when you make a habit of looking for a failure, it just becomes it's just like brushing your teeth. You just find yourself brushing your teeth. You find yourself taking a piss. You find yourself looking for some way to fail, because if you fail every day, you're just like Marty said, if you're failing, you're on the right path. If you're not failing, you're not learning, you're not testing, you're not moving the needle forward. So the way I say it is, if you're uncomfortable, that's perfect. Now, when you're uncomfortable, learn to be comfortable when you're uncomfortable, and that becomes your new safe haven.
I like the fact, Johnny, that you as a coach, because there's coaches tuning in today, there's people thinking about hiring coaches today. And Marty, I just took something what John said, is that you're recognizing that when you're sitting down with your client, that there's going to be a point that they're going to have failure and they're going to require feedback. Yeah. But what you've actually anticipated, first of all, is who they are as a human and what
100%.
And what to embrace, right? Not necessarily push, but you're like, okay, I'm getting to know Keith. I know Keith's going to be inspired by this, not motivated, inspired by this. So now you're saying to me that I know when you get into this situation of feedback / failure, I'm going to coach you this way. That's wonderful learnings, frankly, because I think we often overlook that, where we just kind of want to put somebody into a box and make it happen a certain way, which is like, well, no, this is going to motivate Keith because he's an alpha, or this is going to motivate Marty because he's a beta, right? And just having that recognition, right? So,
and on that level, when you can coach someone or help someone, whatever you want to call it, help them want to do something versus making them feel like they're forced to. The want is a long-term solution.
Yes.
The forced, it's just a matter of time. Any creature on the planet at some point is going to say, you know what? I'm not doing that shit again tomorrow.
Yes. True
when
story.
you want to, you'll do it every day. So you've got to kind of coax and guide them into that path of wanting. Let them see that the path they're on is exactly what they want, and it's comfortable for them to get to that place of being uncomfortable, to learn to be yet again comfortable.
Right. Marty, as you're going through, as you've gone through your career as an athlete, and as you go through your career as a trainer, you know, helping people become better, helping people embrace failure, helping people receive feedback. Let's discuss the iterative process and continuous improvement. Like, so you're sitting down with your customers, and you know they don't hit a set, or they don't achieve a certain goal throughout the week with you. How do you sit down with them and say, it's okay, Keith, man, you know, the big goal is this, but let's sit down and reflect upon what happened today. Let's break it down into a small piece. Let's achieve the small piece so that we can make the small pieces add up to achieving the big goal. Discuss iterative process. Discuss continuous improvement, Marty. The idea of 1% better. I know it's cliche sounding, but man, is it truth, Marty.
Yeah. So if we're talking about fitness specifically, I let them know that, let's say I'm training a woman, you know, whoever she wants to look like. You know, I'll go to that girl's Instagram page and find a post of her being vulnerable and talking about it. And I'll make it clear that, hey, you're not going to hit the PR every week, right? You're not going to perform your best every week. Your mile time might be slower, and it's okay. You might miss a meal, or you might end up eating Five Guys instead of eating the clean meal that you're supposed to be eating on your meal plan, because that's, you know, it happens. You know, we're human at the end of the day. Nobody hit their body transformation nobody hit their body transformation 100%. You know, they messed up at some point. You might miss your gallon of water. It's normal. It's okay. You know, but a lot of people, they'll take that loss and they'll beat themselves up and just give up. You know, they'll beat themselves up and go get liposuction, or try to go to the surgery table. It's like, yo, you messed up one time. Calm down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, so that's you know, I make it clear that it's okay to be human, and I try not to beat my clients up as long as they're putting the effort in. You know, I'm very empathetic, But if you ain't putting the effort in, no, we're going to have a different conversation. But you can't say that things aren't working and you're not putting the effort in. But
I love that you said the same thing John said. As long as what you're saying, Marty, as long as you're trying, you have your full support.
Yep.
You're just saying, Keith, show me you're trying, man. Because I know if you're trying, you got my support. And Donna jumps in. And Marty and Johnny, I know you're new to this whole thing, but Marty, we have I think we might have to move the show down under. We have a following in the future, man. Like we have Gareth joining us from the Gold Coast. We have Donna Alexandra.
I forgot about Gareth. Yeah, you're right.
Donna Alexandra joining us from Tasmania, New Zealand there. The algorithm has sent me to a lot of weird places on YouTube, but I'm really glad I stumbled across this tonight. Super motivating stuff. Donna, that is freaking exceptional. And I'm going to give you, hell, Marty, I'm giving her this, man. Yeah.
She gets a goat. She didn't even earn a goat. Hey, look, Donna, I'm hating. Donna gets a goat, and on the first day, I'm hating.
I downloaded the goat sound effect right before the show here today.
And she's the first person you gave the goat sound to.
So now we know Donna Alexander forever, Marty, is the first goat on the show.
The first goat on the show. I love it.
First goat on the show, joining us from down under. But again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And Donna, I'm really glad you joined in this morning, and I'm drawing you in so I can keep you up a little longer here. But gents, we are talking about overcoming failure. And Marty, you talked about the small wins. Johnny, talk about building confidence.
Yes.
And what I want to lean into this one, especially on a weightlifting side of things, this one fascinates me, right? So we get under a rack or we lift up weights and we're like, okay, so I can pick around. So I'm going to go bench press 250 pounds and I'm good at it. And then all of a sudden you take this little 2.5 pound plate, little teeny thing, right? And you put it on each side. It's 5 pounds, and which is not a lot of weight. Then you can't do it. And you're like, oh my God, I can't do it because these little tiny things. And then a week later, you do it. That to me is the example of confidence through small wins.
Well,
talk about, John, the confidence of small wins.
In the small win thing is absolutely key. There's no question about it. But one of the methodologies that I coach and I teach when it comes to weightlifting is don't look at the numbers. Yeah. You look at the effort that you bring. Like, did you go in and, let's make a quick example. Most people go in and they do bench press on Monday, International Bench Press Day.
Yeah, I did today too.
If they don't hit a certain number on the bench press, they're all bent out of shape. And their mental position on what they're doing takes a dump. And then the next 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes that they're there, they have a shitty workout. Now, if your goal is to go in and have a great workout and the numbers just kind of fall where they may, some days they may not be where you want them to. Others, they're going to be way ahead. You're going to get those numbers, and numbers will fall into place if you are constantly focusing on your effort, which really is, when you're focused on your effort, it's something you can control, which is the thing that goes right into what you're saying about the small wins. If you focus on the stuff you can control, you are going to stack up many wins. Like, perfect example, I am a big connoisseur of 3 easy wins right out of bed. Get up and drink a big glass of water out of bed. There's the first one. Second one, maybe you walk out to the kitchen. You've already got the coffee maker set for the night before. You just got to push the button. There's your second win. Maybe your third win is you've already got your clothes laid out for the day. So all you got to do is put them on. But you're starting off with these easy, quick wins, and you stack them up. And the crazy part is your brain backs you up on this. Every time you do something, even though it's real easy, it's checking a box. Your brain will release dopamine, which is to do it again. They call it the do it again drug. So every time you get a little easy win, it's going, okay, where's the next one? So you planned 3 to start. You're going to find yourself looking for the 4th. And then when you get into this mindset of looking for wins, you're in a better place mentally. You're able to push through your day more effectively. And when you stay in that space, you're going to see opportunities, not problems. You're going to see challenges.
I want to add one thing about the small wins. Since we were talking about bench press, I had a conversation with a guy last week, and he was like, "Yeah, I haven't bench pressed in 5 months, but I was doing like 335." I only got to 225 today. I'm like, you haven't bench pressed in 5 months. Yeah. The fact that you're here bench pressing is a small win. Like, don't let this mess your whole day up because you aren't where you were 5 months ago. I don't know why you took a 5-month break, but it's still a small win that you got in here. You're getting back on track. So that goes right along with the small win conversation and building.
Showing
confidence.
up was checking the box.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of showing up, welcome everybody tuning in here. It's start of the second hour here, 9:00 Eastern time. It's Mornings in the Lab with Keith C, Marty Fit, and John Anderson. Welcome y'all tuning in this morning as you're going through your YouTube feed. It's funny, Marty. I can tell when alarm clocks are going off around North America, man. 7:58. So 8:58 Eastern time, 8:59 Eastern time, 9:00 Eastern time. All of a sudden, yeah, exactly. Numbers start
coming in.
So Good morning, nation. You're here with Keith C, Marty Fit, John Anderson, the only accountability show to help you get your ass out of bed. Don't hit the snooze button. Today we're talking about failure. Get up on Monday. Get up today. Run towards the fire. Run towards something you hate. Run towards something you feel you're going to fail at. And then I invite you to come back tomorrow to the show and tell myself, Marty, and Johnny what it was. And then we're going to say to you, hey, good job winning. Because you won just by walking towards failure today. Because tomorrow
is a win.
Because tomorrow's going to come anyways, right, John? Marty? Like tomorrow's coming.
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. So whatever you're afraid of today, nation, run towards it. So we're going to wrap up our conversation on failure before we let John go for a pee again, and we get to our second half topics on conversations around the foods you need to eat, nation. So if you're in your 20s, you're one of our young listeners tuning in today, like myself, we're going to give you the foods you need to eat so you can age appropriately. I was waiting for that from Marty, but we're going to wrap it up. John, Marty. The contrarian view. We are all about telling people to run towards failure. You know, Goggins is about running towards failure. Andrew Huberman's about, failure. But gentlemen, is failure always necessary? There's criticism of the fail fast mentality. There's the potential downsides of the fail fast, fail often approach. Burnout, constant failure, beating yourself up, the dark side, mental illness, all of the addiction, all of the bad things that hit somebody in the head after they've been banging their head against the wall over and over and over. And they're like, you know what? I just can't keep failing, Keith, because it's killing me. Johnny, you started off this time. Is failure always necessary, John Anderson?
Well, I believe that failure is always necessary to stay inspired. And if someone is banging their head against the wall, like you said, they're saying, I just can't keep failing, they're missing the idea behind it. Because if you're failing and you're taking something from it, then you're like, you flipped the script on failure. If you bang your head against the brick wall and you're sitting there rubbing it going, oh, that hurts. And you're not like, oh man, I can't wait to do that again because I know how to I know how to go beyond that last failure. That's inspiration. That's excitement. That's the guy that wants to do it again. And if you've mentally framed failure the way that you should, and you can mentally stay on top of recognizing it as a test, as for progression, you're going to stay inspired and you're never going to burn out. So for the people that are burning out, it's because they've got it framed wrong, or they're failing at something that is not really inspiring to them. You know, I mean, if I was failing at stock and shelves somewhere, no matter how many times I failed, no matter how good I got, I would not be inspired to stock shelves. Or nothing against the people who stock shelves. It's just
I did.
Well, there we go.
Yeah,
it's just not my jam.
I'm not
going to find inspiration in that. But if I'm failing at something that inspires me, I need to fail because it's part of the progression. So I think that's where people have to look at it. It's like, how are you perceiving and how are you using failure? Because if you perceive and use properly, it should keep you in a really, I guess you'd say, in a kind of a inspired, motivated space.
Yes. So nation, we're wrapping up our conversation today about failure and embracing failure as a path to rapid growth. Listen, I know it's not for everyone. I know some people tuning in today, and as Marty has said before, if you're tuning into our show and you have found our show, you're probably drinking similar Kool-Aid to what we all are about today. We're about being accountable. We're about trying to hit our goals in life. We're about, trying to hit our personal best on the bench or on the triathlon or the marathon, or we're about, being 78 years old and going tobogganing with our grandchildren. right? We're about those long style those lifestyle habits. But failure, I believe, is a crucial component of growth. It's essential to balance it with the strategic planning and resilience. Use those small wins of confidence along the way, right? So I would invite you, Nation, to consider as you start your Monday today, as you start your week, and as you look towards, really, guys, we're halfway through the summer, reflect upon some of these past failures. Learn from them. Don't be afraid of them. And, as Marty said, reflect, embrace it, and use them as learning opportunities. And just because, you stepped away from the bench for 5 months, embrace what you can achieve instead of be scared of what you could not achieve.
Man, he was beating himself up.
Right. And I've been there as well, where you're like, oh man, I can't do that anymore. I'm like, well, no, hold on a second. Right. So there's a conversation on failure this morning, Nation. We're going to pivot our dialogue here. We're going to do the creator spotlight, Jimmy. We're going to bump up the creator spotlight here. John's going to step away for a moment, I think. And then we're going to wrap up the second segment. We're going to talk about foods you should be eating. And while we're doing that, though, Marty, I think Enzo is offering to start a morning show here over in, I guess, the middle of the night show in New Zealand. Pop it up in comments on the screen here. Yeah, it'll be 1 a.m. The 1 a.m. show with Enzo from the future, and it's not going to be coffee. No, I don't think so. But Enzo, I'll tell you right now, man, you're going to wake up one day, Enzo, and there's going to be a morning show in your backyard. Trust me. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening in front of your eyes. All right, so we are going to pivot, Nation, this conversation now to what we call, John, this is new for you to learn. So we like to take somebody, and Jimmy, I'm going to take the vertical feed. You're going to try the horizontal feed. We're going to try this out today for the first time. So, John, we like to take people that are doing awesome work on social platforms. And right now we've been focusing our attention on LinkedIn, and we are expanding that reach to Threads, to Instagram, to Substack, to all the social platforms. And we like to take the big ass light that we have here in the lab. It's like the bat light, John. It's like the big old bat light. And we like to take the light, we like to find this human being, this awesome human that's doing great work. Maybe they're showing up every single day. Maybe they're creating provocative conversations. Maybe they're networking. Maybe they're just creating great content, great conversation in my feed. Maybe there's content showing up in your feed, John. You're like, I'm inspired by this person. So we like to take the old light. We like to take a part of our show, John, and take the light and shine it on that human being for what we call the creator spotlight, and then celebrate them and say, dude, we think you're doing awesome work. We want to tell the world about you, because we here on the show are about celebrating humans. So today, we are going to pivot our attention to somebody on LinkedIn who I have been following for a few months. And yesterday he came across my feed with a post that I wanted to reflect upon and share with all of you today. So, Jimmy, we are going to move today's creator spotlight. Where's my thing here? Hold on, Jimmy. I got to get the sound effects ready for all of us here. The creator spotlight today, Nation, is John Anderson. Oh, no, John Cook.
Come on, man.
John Cook is going to be our creator spotlight today. He's a storyteller, he's a wordsmith, and he's an all-around, Marty, pleasant chap. And I chose John Anderson, because of something he posted yesterday, which was actually 2 days ago, which was this right here. And it said, I quit. And it inspired me because he talked about this whole idea of, when you quit, you actually need to go even harder. So instead of quitting, dig in to go even harder. Don't quit. Keep trying. Set the ego aside, realign, and keep moving. There's another choice instead of quitting. So John dug into this. He's a storyteller, wordsmith, like I said. You can find John on LinkedIn. He's a writer, storyteller for business and pleasure. He helps clients learn, reverse engineer their career stories, and craft their narratives for maximum impact. I would invite you to check out his profile over on LinkedIn. He writes inspiring content. He writes content that I know will move you forward, but I would really invite you to check out the post he made, this provocative statement around this idea of quitting. And he leaned into how YouTubers and creators are waking up on days like today, John, Marty, going, I'm done with it. And what we're saying is like, no, don't. Embrace the feeling of considering quitting. But actually now it's time to even dig in more, right? So if you're considering that quit, no, as John Anderson said, if you're considering that quit, squeeze out the extra rep. If you're considering the quit, try to take that extra step. If you're considering the quit and you're on the treadmill, go from 6'2" to 6'3". Trust me. And then if you fail, that's okay. Try it again tomorrow. So that's the message I want to throw out there today, and that's the message that I really enjoyed that John Cook brought to the table, and that is our Jimmy. Good job, man, throwing it up there on the horizontal feed. That's awesome, man. So John Cook is our creator spotlight today here in the lab. That's who we're going to shine later. And Nation, we're going to get better at this. We're going to find people across all the platforms. And John Anderson, you know how we do this, man? To bring people in. Right? I feel if we can celebrate others, they're going to come back to our show and they're going to go, oh my God, they're celebrating us on the show. So that's the whole point of it. But we are going to take Marty. Good show so far?
Oh, it's a great show, man.
Johnny, you having fun so far? Second,
Absolutely.
Hey, John, you're just getting started, man. You ain't seen nothing yet.
That's it. We're just getting started. Yeah. All right, so Nation, we are going to pivot our chat here. Last segment of the show here. We're gonna start winding the conversation down, and we're going to go, Jimmy, to my 20-year-old friends. Marty, the kids that are younger than you, man. Like you're like the old guy to the 20-year-old friends we have here.
Oh yeah, they call me Unc.
they
call me Unc.
Hey, they're going to call you Unc. They can call me Dad, and they can call Johnny Grandpa because he is Grandpa.
Marty, how old are you, brother?
I'm 31.
Oh, Jesus. Let's go. That's a great age right there.
Which is perfect because we're going to talk about 10 foods you must eat in your 20s to save your health for later in life. And Nation, you have 3 of the right guys to be having this conversation with right now. You got Marty, who's 31. You got this guy here who's a young 52, and you got the other guy on the screen who's an old 52. He's only 2 months. He's 2 months. Marty asked him the question. I said, how old are you? Like, oh, January 1st. I'm like, yes, I'm now the young guy on the show. So, well, the medium guy. So I'm the medium guy.
Your birthday's on New Year's resolutions? I can't wait for that episode with John.
Oh, there you go.
I can't wait.
So 10 foods, Marty, Johnny, that we are inviting folks to consider eating. And these are obvious ones. But again, our ambition here is you're starting your day today. You're planning your lunch. You're going, oh, where am I going for lunch today? What am I having for dinner today? You're thinking, should I go to Five Guys and crush a burger? Let's start number 1. Nation, Johnny, Marty, do not forget those leafy greens and those berries. Talk about leafy greens and berries, guys. Are you a leafy green guy, Johnny, or are you a berry guy, Johnny?
You know, when it comes down to it, if it's a single ingredient food, that's the first question I'm asking myself. Is it single ingredient?
I love it.
Once you've crossed that boundary, you're inside the single ingredient arena, if you will. It becomes much more difficult to make a bad choice.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, because for us to progress as humans, we have to ask ourselves questions. It's really easy for us to figure out what's going on when we ask ourselves questions. And when you basically ask that one question, is this a single ingredient food? And if it is, you step forward. If it's not, you step back. That one question is a game changer. So to answer your question, leafy greens and berries are both single ingredient foods. So those 2 right there are easy piece of the list.
I love that. And Marty, Lauren's listening right now. And she's cheering. She's cheering John right now.
She's loving it. I know she's loving it.
Cheering John right now, going, yes, single ingredient foods. Right. So Lauren strives, and love my baby. She strives to live a long-term healthy lifestyle. Right. So always focusing on those long-term decisions. Right. So when I know she's hearing you speak about the single ingredient, because Marty, she's like the ingredient policeman. She'll pick up the label and read it all, and it's like, all right, I don't understand the science behind this word. I'm putting it down. Right, Johnny? You're cheering Lauren on there too, because you're like, if there's more than one ingredient, I'm putting it down. So Nation, go grab some greens today. Go have some spinach. Go have some blueberries.
No fiber bars.
No.
Yeah. You stepped in the wrong arena if you're eating a bar of any kind.
Oh,
I can agree with that.
Hold on there, John Anderson.
Oh man. Oh God.
Are you going to hold me accountable to this one too, Anderson? This is a half-pound peanut butter cup.
Hey, actually, I saw that.
Oh, first off, that's not even food. That's chemicals. We're talking about food, aren't we?
Hey, can I mute Anderson at this point in the show, Marty, or do I got to keep listening to the guy talk?
No, you got to keep listening to him. And I saw that on your desk when I was up there.
Yes, I know you did.
That's the biggest Reese's peanut butter cup I've seen in my life.
It's massive.
That's one?
No,
John,
it's ridiculous, John. It's crazy.
It's 225 grams of pure goodness, John Anderson. Like it is
crazy.
So you know how big a hockey puck is? It's actually bigger than a hockey puck.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I'm going to
that's 220 grams of pure future diabetes is what that is.
So
can you turn it around? Can we see the nutrition label?
No, because Lauren's going to come down and beat me up.
Mean the chemical?
Let her come beat you up then.
Would you like me to read them?
Yeah, read it off.
You can't read the ingredients, so try to read the ingredients. You can't read them. That's where we go.
Because I'm old. Oh, do we need Dr. Labby on the show so we can check my eyes, Marty, so I can read them?
we would need a chemical engineer to read those ingredients.
So, Nation. So, is it at this point in the show that I admit to Marty and John that I've actually crushed 2 of these in one sitting?
Oh boy!
Somebody call the Undertaker.
Oh man!
John's full of judgment now of Uncle Keith over here. He's like, dude, I'm gonna get a text later today. John's gonna be like, Bilous, did you actually crush 2 of those in one sitting? I'm gonna be like,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a half pound of chocolate and peanut butter. John, I'm telling you, man. So I gotta show you this, John. So on October 31st, November 1st of last year, I celebrate Peanut Butter and Chocolate Day, otherwise known as Halloween. Or you just take everything chocolate and peanut butter, put it together. And I taped up my peanut butter jar because I have a problem.
That's crazy.
That looks like masking tape. I think you could get that off there very easily. If you're going to tape that up, you got to put like you ever seen the gangster movies where they got like kilos of cocaine and it's just duct taped to the point where you can't see what. That's what you got to do to that peanut butter.
Who invited this guy to the show, man? Like who invited this guy to the show?
We need this. We need this guy on the show.
Oh man, I'm going to be withering away here on the show here. Hey,
that whole effort of putting that kind of tape on there was just to say, look at me, I'm pretending not to eat this.
You know he's sneaking in there after the show.
Yeah.
And then putting some new tape back on there, acting like he didn't touch it.
Oh man,
that tape you could just do this and it'll break loose. That's not a deterrent. That just makes people think he's trying to stop.
Mornings in the lab where my co-hosts beat up the host Keith Bilous here. Join us every single day where Marty and Johnny beat me up and
I'm only getting 1 teaspoon.
When I met Lauren, she's like, "Yeah, chocolate's Adam's peanut butter," and she says chocolate. So I had never had Adam's peanut butter before, and I freaking love the stuff. It's literally just crushed peanuts. And she gives this teaspoon, Marty. It's like the smallest teaspoon. It's like the size of my nail. I'm like, really? She's like, oh yeah, that's all you need for peanut butter. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? Give me the tablespoon. Oh yeah, just crushing tablespoonfuls right of peanut butter. I just love it. Peanut butter is the greatest invention ever made is peanut butter. Goes on everything. So hence I got the problem here. But anyways, we're gonna put the peanut butter aside and keep our conversation going, nation. Don't eat too much peanut butter in your 20s because you're gonna have problems in your 50s. Trust me. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to add a whole other 17 minutes to your morning after your coffee to go get rid of the peanut butter out of your body. But that's a whole other. We will welcome back David Sowers from Royal Restrooms for that conversation, Marty. Number 2.
Yo, who is this guy, man?
Number 2.
John, I just wish you were in the loop, John. I really wish you were.
Some of these things I can clearly see I'm not a part of. So I just enjoy the looks on Marty's face. That's where the entertainment is for me.
Oh my God.
So Johnny, David Sowers, we had a guest on last week before you. So I was telling you, David Sowers invented the Royal Restrooms, the greatest restroom experience ever. Yeah, and it came out of the fact that a golden shower happened on him. And because he had a golden shower on him by his daughter, you know, she peed on him by accident. He's like, I got to set up a whole new business. So we'll have to revisit that show and bring David on one day on the show. But Marty, can't believe we're having this conversation right now. Anyways, we're pivoting to the foods you must eat in your 20s so that you can age gracefully in life and be just like me and John Anderson. Fish and grains, single ingredient foods, salmon, quinoa. If you're looking for dinner suggestions today, go have a nice salmon and quinoa salad. Johnny, Marty, salmon and quinoa, single ingredient foods, comments, likes, dislikes. Talk about salmon and quinoa.
Well, I'll jump on this one first, because when Marty goes first, he takes all the good things to say. I'm like sitting there listening to him talk. Okay, can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. He just
man.
He just beats this thing out, man. I'm running around looking for the scraps.
There you go.
Salmon is just by it's a single ingredient food, but it also has really good healthy fats. But here's what I want to point out about this single ingredient food that many people are not up to speed with is that salmon is now either wild caught, which means it was caught out of the ocean or some sort of a river, or it's farmed. And if it's farmed, you want to avoid this stuff because they basically feed it. How's this? They feed these fish things that you would not want to eat, things that create a lot of toxicity. Just to be totally honest, they actually, in different cases, they'll actually put feces in the ponds when they're feeding these things. So they're eating, I guess you say we're live, so they're eating poop. So do you want to eat a creature that's basically been eating poop to get big and be harvestable? So if you're going to eat salmon, make sure it's wild caught.
Well said. Well said. And Marty, and so I know when Marty was here last week, Johnny, and Marty's like, yeah, I want some salmon. I'm like, okay, great. We'll go get you some good old prairie salmon. Marty.
I don't think that's what you said.
I was just saying, I was waiting for that because I could see the look on his face wasn't aligned with what you were saying. So I was like,
I don't think that's what you said.
Something's coming here.
Marty, quinoa. Are you a fan of quinoa, my friend? You know, some people love quinoa, some people don't. But are you a quinoa person? Because quinoa, I think, is one of those undiscussed kind of superfoods that are out there that are rich in vitamins B. You know, complete plant-based protein, rich in dietary fiber, not fiber one, but quinoa helps manage weight and blood sugar levels due to its low glycemic index. Are you a quinoa fan, Marty?
Every now and then. Not a big quinoa guy, but I order it or I cook it every now and then. But not really my number one. You know, I'm more of a rice guy. That's just my preference.
Good for
you. But like you just mentioned, a lot of benefits from quinoa and that protein. I'm all about protein. So if you can get
Continue the discussion, and for our folks in their 20s, eat this kind of food as you start your day to age gracefully in life and live longer. Nation, go grab that Greek yogurt. Go throw some almonds in it. And maybe even drizzle a little bit of olive oil on that salad or something. But Greek yogurt, almonds, olive oil. Gents, Johnny, you got a preference here on Greek yogurt, almonds, olive oil? Are you a fan of all those foods? Do you douse olive oil in everything you eat?
Olive oil is a great one. However, there's another little hack here is that there's been quite a lot of oils in general, like avocado oil, olive oil, that are turning out not to be what they're saying. There are a lot of these cheaper oils. We're finding that there's oils that we don't want to ingest that are basically doubling for that olive oil or the avocado oil. So yes, I'm a big fan of oils, but just like salmon, you've actually got to make sure you understand what you're buying. So that's a lot of times people are putting in the effort to do what we're talking about, to eat well, to use single ingredient foods. But then there's some of these little things that are happening that are, if you're going to make the effort to do this stuff, you should get the results because you understand how to pick within the single ingredient world. Mm-hmm. Because as much as I hate to say it, our food in America is a business and they don't really give they don't give two shits about our health. They give two shits about our pocketbooks, and they're pulling a lot of weird little tricks like this to take advantage. So if you want your oil, make sure that you're buying it from a company that's reputable, and you're good to go.
Good suggestions and good tips. And yeah, that's a really great statement because you're right. And we often forget about, right? Food is a business. It's like health is a business, right? And we get so caught up sometimes, we get so caught up in non-reality where it's like, oh, right, I need to have that awareness. But Marty, Greek yogurt person, almonds guy, olive oil guy, where do you fall into these your food paradigm?
Definitely an olive oil guy. I'm an almond guy, but I'm not a Greek yogurt guy.
Yeah.
Not really my thing. Yeah, we had this convo before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like what I like to throw at the nation is the idea of, to me, Greek yogurt's a great protein hack throughout the day. Right, if you're looking for something in the morning or something just like a little snack, throw some, grab some Greek yogurt, throw some almonds in it, and get some protein in you. And Bob's your uncle. I think it's it's rich in calcium, phosphorus, vitamin B, and of course get you that magnesium and that protein. So if you're in your 20s, be considering that Greek yogurt today instead of the Five Guys. Go throw some almonds in a bag. And as John said, if you're using the oils, the olives or the avocados, make sure they're the right ones. Like take a look at the ingredients. Take a look at where it's from. Do a little bit of extra homework. John, we live in a world where we have more information available to us than ever, right? We're all carrying these devices in our pockets. It could take a few extra seconds to do a little bit more research. And like you said, if you're already putting the effort in, take the extra few seconds and confirm that you're getting the right stuff, right? So, continuing our dialogue as we're wrapping up today's show, sweet potatoes, avocados, and chickpeas. There you go, right? Low glycemic sweet potatoes, avocado, Brookie's favorite, Marty, and good old chickpeas. Gents, where do you guys fall on the planet for sweet potatoes, avocado, and chickpeas? Marty?
Yeah, sweet potato is just like my favorite carb, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's already sweet, so you don't need to add all the sugar to it. I don't know if you remember recently, I did a post about people adding sugar to the sweet potato.
Yes.
You don't need to do that. I love avocados. And what was the other thing you said?
Chickpeas.
Oh, chickpeas are good too. I'm not really, I'm not vegan or anything, so I rarely get chickpeas. I know that's a protein source for a lot of vegans and. But no. Avocados and sweet potatoes, I'm big on those. Highly recommend.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny? I'm thinking you're a big sweet potato guy. Would I strike that correctly, or where do you fall?
I'll put all these in the. You check these boxes. They're all great foods. But I want to jump to a quick little tip for those. Please. Obviously, buying avocados. We know they're expensive, especially as food's gotten expensive. A lot of times, they have these bags where you can buy a number of them in a bag, but they're not really ready to eat, right? And so you buy these in a bag, they're cheaper, and they're going to last a little bit longer, but you want to go home and you want to eat one in the next 24 hours or so. So if you take that avocado that's not ready to eat and you put it into a basket with onions, it will ripen so fast that you'll be able to, so you could buy that bag that's not really ripe. And you're thinking, most people think, shit, I can't eat this for a week.
Yeah.
And then they all get ripe at the same time and you're trying to get them all down. Get that bag. Yes, they're not ripe. Grab one or two, put them in a bowl with onions. They'll ripen up for you real quick and just keep pulling them out of that bag. And at some point, what's left in the bag will be ready to eat. And you've basically solved your problem with trying to buy, expensive avocados that are ripe right now that are really expensive. And if you buy too many, they go bad.
Life hacks and gym hacks and food hacks with John Anderson. That's a good hack, man. I never knew about that, Johnny. Marty, throw your avocados in your bag of onions if you want them to ripen quickly. So good old life hack this morning here from John Anderson. We're wrapping up our Chat Nation on the 10 foods you must eat in your 20s. And Marty, we're going to come up to the fit tip of the day here in a second here, Jimmy, before we wrap up the show. And Johnny can get out of here. 10 foods you must eat. So all my friends in your 20s right now, quickly tune in here and listen to what we're going to say. Leafy greens and berries as you go throughout your day. Go get those greens in your body. Go get some berries in your body. Single ingredient foods. I know it's not rocket science, but it's so hard in the moment to make those choices. We're going to talk about decisions and choices coming up in days future. Johnny taught me something yesterday about how he makes decisions the day before at noon. Fish and grains. You want to get that fish, but you don't want farm salmon. If you're going out shopping today, put the farm salmon down and go pick up the natural salmon and get those grain. Quinoa, a good choice for your body as well. Nuts, yogurts, and oils. If you're grabbing those oils, again, everything's olive oil, avocado, oil. But have a look, make sure you got those right ingredients. They're from reputable sources. And as John said, food is a business. Perhaps not always lining up with your interests, with your health. So have that in mind. Then finally, you want some energy, nation? Sweet potatoes, avocados, chickpeas. Oh, yeah. And if you're having sweet potatoes, leave the sugar out, as Marty said. Or, he's going to come back and give you a stone cold stunner.
Yes.
Exactly it. Remember, it's not about strict dieting, John Anderson, and I know you know this, but it's about balance and including those foods in your regular meals and being consistent. Even if you're older, even if you're old and ancient like myself and John, incorporating these foods into your diet can still provide significant health benefits. You know what? I'm going to speak for myself and John. If you're tuning in right now and you haven't made these choices before, it's never too late to start. Right, John? It's never too late to get started. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So if you want to make that change, man, and you're going, I feel like I got a heavy gut today. Well, then make the change, or come knock on my door, come knock on John's door, Marty's door to help you out. So we're going to wrap up our conversation on the food you got to eat. And Marty, we are going to do this, my friend, right now on the show. Nope. This one.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Bring
Let's
it
do
on.
it.
Let's go. All right. We got the fitness tip for the day. All right. Progress is not linear. What matters is that you keep showing up and giving your best. Let's talk about it. Bouncing back into your workout routine after a break can feel overwhelming. We've all been there, feeling a bit lost and unsure where to start. Let's talk about how you can get back on track. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself by jumping back into intense workouts. Begin with the lighter exercises and gradually increase the intensity. So if you fall off and you are lifting 300 pounds, don't go back right away trying to lift 300 pounds right away. Give yourself some time to build back up. Set realistic goals. Define achievable milestones to help track your progress. This keeps you motivated and focused. Prioritize consistency. Consistency beats intensity. Even short, regular workouts can make a difference over time. You're better off doing 40 minutes 5 times a week than going in one time for 2 hours every other week or every month, once a month. Find enjoyable activities. Choose exercises you enjoy to make the process fun and sustainable, whether it's running, lifting, or yoga. Find what you love. Stay accountable. Share your goals with a friend or join a fitness group. Accountability partners can help keep you on track. It's okay to fall back sometimes. The trick to success is getting back in the game and moving forward. That's the fitness tip for today.
All right, there you go, nation. Christopher Martin, See Marty Fit. We bring it to you every single day, the See Marty Fit tip of the day, paired with our accountability tip.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be giving Johnny Anderson his own segment coming up as well once we sort that out. But that tip is to get you guys moving. The tip is to make you think about what's going to help you get through your day today. But gents, we are at the point of the show where we are here about to say goodbye. It has been Christopher Martin, See Marty Fit. It's been a lot of fun today, man. Our first Monday with John Anderson on the show, and I'm going to put it up to him. John, how was day one, my friend?
It was great. It was exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. And the best part about it is it's only going to get better because we get a little bit better every day.
That's exactly it. And you know what, Marty, final words from you two before I wrap it up.
Yeah, John, you got a lot to learn, man, about this guy, Keith. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun, brother.
It's going to be a lot of fun, nation. So listen, we invite you to tune us in 8 o'clock Eastern time right here on YouTube, X, LinkedIn. If you're tuning in right now, come back and see us tomorrow. You find all of our content. Subscribe to the channel, Mornings in the Lab. Subscribe to the channel. Comment, like it, share it with your friends. Marty, I'm getting better, man, all the time. Every single day. Tomorrow, we got a show to talk about. Tomorrow, guys, we're going to talk about longevity life hacks. Using AI to live a healthier life. We got Ashley Gross joining us on the show tomorrow. She's an AI expert, Marty. Just like prompt stuff, and we're going to teach John Anderson a few things tomorrow on the show about AI and how to live a longer, healthier life using AI. And then Matt Freed's going to join in, and I'm going to sit back, guys. And I'm going to have 3 trainers on the show. I'm going to have Matt, I'm going to have John, and I'm going to have Marty. We're going to talk about how you can stay fit and get yourself in shape while working from home. So if you're a remote worker, hybrid worker, and we always talk about there's no excuse not to take care of yourself. With AI tools that can save you time and hybrid work environments, there's actually no excuse to be a lazy ass in 2024. So we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. Enzo, Donna Alexandra, Will Ray, Rubies, Lauren, Tom to join us. On the horizontal feed, we got Enzo and everybody else joining in today. I appreciate all your company. I appreciate all the love and attention. And we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here. John, let's go for a pee, man. I got to go too. We'll see you guys later.